Hey everybody, welcome back to another Flea Market Finds episode. This is actually stuff that I bought on my second day out at the multi-day Brimfield Flea Market in Brimfield, Massachusetts. So the first dealer I hit for the day, I ended up getting this set of Starrett 154 parallels. It's a full set, they're pretty decent shape. And these two tap wrenches for $60. The tap wrenches are marked made in USA, and they have a star on them, and they're identical to ones that are in the MSC catalog right now. And this one new was like $18, and this one new was like $40. This is the big sucker. This one's like in great shape. I don't think this one's been used hardly at all. This one may have been used some. Anyways, and then got this from the same dealer. This is a just a no-name import telescopic gauge set, but I got it for $10. And I got this pile right here from that guy for $20, which in this pile there are two genuine can't twist clamps, a couple of, this is a Geodor 40/42 made in Germany spanner wrench, and this one is a also Germany 52/55 spanner wrench. So I believe these are metric. And then these three Machinist parallel clamps, just random ones. This one is missing one of the rods, but I have extra rods that I've saved over the years. I have to see if I can find it. This is a no-name. But this one right here, I believe, is a Brown and Sharp. Yep, this is a little Brown and Sharp one. Then I hit a dealer who had a bunch of stuff in a old toolbox, and he let me take anything I wanted out of the drawers, and then this was sitting on the table. And I ended up getting this whole lot right here for $15, with the exception of this. This is actually this is a Craftsman Scriber, and I think this had a broken tip. Yeah, the very tip of this is broken. But it's a Craftsman Scriber, and it's identical to a Starrett or a General, so that's probably who made it for him. I got that for $4. But the rest of this stuff, this pile right here, I got for $15, which includes this Mitutoyo inside Micrometer Set. I think it's fairly complete. I'm going to go through it. But it's got this horrible foam issue, and the foam is sticking to everything, and then that's causing corrosion on some of the parts. But I mean, for $15, damn straight I'm going to take a chance on that. And I also, like I said, I was able to get this other stuff included in this, which included this is a center gauge. But this is Cassier Machinery Company of Providence, Rhode Island. So that is a center gauge that was probably maybe a premium or something, I don't know. And this is a Craftsman branded drill point gauge, angle gauge, right? Okay, with a protractor attached to it. And again, I've seen these as Starrett and General. It's interesting, there's a copyright date in 1937 on this. So that's kind of cool. Then I took this, even though I have no idea what it is. It says it's a 71 millimeter, and it's Webster Lens Company. And so it's a brand new old stock lens for something. What's kind of weird about it is it's got this writing right in the middle, which would kind of like, you would think would be in the way. And what that's embossed on the concave side is plus 200A and minus 850. So I'm going to do a little research on that right now and see if I can't figure out what that is, if it has any value. And I got these two things, which I have no idea yet what they are. These almost look like they could be chucked in a drill maybe, and have some cutters right down in there, some cutting edges down in there. So it's almost as if this is supposed to be put down over something, and then this is brought down and allowed to trim the edge. But I think there are patent numbers on these. It's actually named Cogsdill TL Production, and then there's a couple of patents. So we'll find out what those are. So Cogsdill is a manufacturer that apparently is well known for their deburring tools, primarily what their website seems to show, but they also show that this is a tool they designed which is called a micro-limit countersinking tool. And what this does is this allows you to have precise control over the depth of the countersink by being able to set it on the side here. So once you set this to the limit that you want, basically that will stop this from coming down too far into the hole. Yep, that's kind of neat. Well, I don't think we're ever going to find out what this big mystery lens is. The 4.25 BC might mean base curve. Apparently that's a unit of measure in optics. Looks like there's a date here of September 28th, 1994. So it's been kicking around for a while. 71 millimeters, you know, that's pretty large. So, and again, because of the way it's got stuff written on it, it's not, I don't know what the heck is, I'm trying to think of what the heck this is. I don't think I'm ever going to find out unless one of you guys know what this is. Beats moi. Well, then I found a dealer who had quite a few machinist tools, but anything that had Starrett or Brown and Sharp on it, he pretty much wanted the moon for price-wise. But I was able to snag this little 29 degree, it's marked right there, 29 degree, thread gauge. And this is a Fujikogu, or Fujikogu, made in Japan. He had $7 on this because it's an import, so he didn't value it at much. I got it for $5. General pin vices. Again, if these were Starrett, he would have wanted the moon for them. He had 24 on these. I was able to get him down to 15 on those. And this indicator, which of all the indicators he had there, this is the only one I could get a deal on. This one, I got him down to 20 bucks for. Now, he had 25 on it, so he came down 5. The reason why I took this, even though it's an import, is because it looks brand new, and it's a .0001 resolution. It's a tenths indicator. I tend to be able to get more money for these. And because this one being so clean, I think I'm going to, you know, be able to sell it. It is engraved, but the dovetails are scraped, but they're not dinged up. The face is perfect. And this says Jeweled Japan. It's actually marked Draper as the name, which I'm not familiar with. Then I found a guy who looked like his stuff has been left out in the rain. There's a lot of rain that week, off and on. I was like, he left his stuff out there, and I found some bins and stuff, and I was looking through them, and he started saying, oh, everything in those bins is like $1 a piece or whatever, and I started looking through, putting stuff together, and then in the end, he ended up selling me this pile right here for $4, which includes this big high-speed steel stub drill, which I only took it because I knew it was going to be so cheap. And then I got 3 rusty punches, but I could see that they're Starretts. And this is one of these old kind of cool style Starretts with the 4 flat sides. This scribe, which I think it does have a tip in it. I think it's just turned around. It's a little one. It might be Starrett also. This thread setting gauge, which is kind of neat. I've sold one of these previously. This gauge basically is just for setting your compound to 27 degrees for threading. I'm sorry, 29 degrees. See how long it's been since I did single point threading? Didn't even remember that. And it's a Brown and Sharp. So it's got kind of a little bit of collectible value to it. And then this old rusty hook rule. But because it's a hook rule, that's why I grabbed it. Figured somebody might be willing to clean that up, do a little work to it. And then I saw this chuck, and I said, how much for that? And he said, well, just make it $5 for everything. So I got this chuck for $5. Now this is just a small Jacobs chuck. It's got some rust on it. The good news is it's not seized up. The really good news is that it's mounted on this sensitive drill attachment. Now if this were an Albrecht 0 to 1/8 inch chuck mounted on this, I could easily get probably like 80 or 90 bucks for it. But because it is a Jacobs, I don't know what we're going to get for it, especially since it needs to be cleaned up. Then the same guy, I noticed these two pieces after I paid him, and I mentioned them, you know, that they were interesting, and he said, he could just take those. At the end of the day, I guess he made his money for the day and didn't really care about some of this rusty stuff. But this is actually kind of nice clamp from a indicator stand. And this is a V-block clamp of unknown origin. It might even be Starrett or Brown and Sharp, I don't know which. I told him what this was because I said, oh, it'd be nice if you had the blocks around here. I'd be interested in them. And I went into another field and I didn't find any, people were packing up and I didn't find any machinist tools. And then I happened to go over to by a tent that had a lot of furniture, and sitting on top of the furniture was this box, and I could see it was a Starrett. It's a number 64A indicator box. And unfortunately, there's no indicator in it. But there are a couple of nice Starrett accessories in here. So that's a genuine Starrett there, and there's another one. I don't know why there's two in one box wrapped in wax paper. A lonely letter punch, the number 5, all by itself. And that's it. That's all that's in here. And he said, you're like the only guy who picked that up all day. So he said, you can have it. So I got that for free. And the reality is, no big deal that the, oh, that's interesting. That's actually part of that 64A. I recognize that. That is actually part of the indicator that goes in here. And then probably one of these belong in there. I don't know why there's two in here. But I mean, I got it for free. So, what the heck. And in another field, the guy was packing up, and I came across this V-block, and it's V-blocks and clamp is what the box says. This is the original box for a 268C Starrett pair of V-blocks. What was in here was the one clamp, this V-block, and the other V-block was in there, but it was complete. This part was completely broken off, so it was junk. So I explained that and was able to get him to come down to 10 bucks on this, because I think this original clamp is worth something. It's too bad there weren't two clamps, because I think I have an extra one of these V-blocks, but I definitely don't have a clamp. So believe it or not, I think this only came with one clamp. I can look that up in my Starrett catalog, but it's just not that interesting to me. Oh, but I did find that extra V-block. That's a match for that. Yeah, sure is. Alright, so that makes that a complete set. How do you like them apples? This is the outer part of the top, but the top of the top is gone, so That's what this deal is. Oh, that's funny. Funny to me, anyways. Easily amused, apparently. So this particular item that I picked up at the Brimfield flea market, I actually saw it on my first day out to the flea market, and then when I went back 2 days later for my second round of picking, I decided to go look this dealer up again and see if he still had it, because the first time we talked about it, he wanted $400 for this, and he was looking at it, I think, more from an antiquity value. He felt maybe that's what it might be worth, and I was looking at it completely differently. So in the end, I gave him an offer, and he said he's gonna try and hold out for more. But then when I went back 2 days later and he still had it, he took my offer of $200 for this. So what is this? This is a watchmaker's cabinet, or watch repairman's cabinet, I guess, for lack of a better term. So what you got is you got a whole bunch of drawers, right? Down below, in this area that looks like it's missing a drawer, it's actually open intentionally because there is a pedal. And the pedal actuates this crystal press. So you can guess what all these drawers are for. And in fact, this is where the money is, in these drawers. The top drawer is marked blocks and plugs and crystals. So what's in the top here? All of the attachments for doing different sizes, and the plugs that go in the top for pushing. Now, some of you may or may not have seen the videos of me using my cheap made in China crystal press that I picked up off of eBay and finding all kinds of issues with it. The quality is exactly what I definitely got what I paid for with that thing. And when I occasionally would find good quality, vintage presses on eBay, they tended to trade for more money than I wanted to invest in such a thing, because, well, this isn't my bag. It's not what I plan to do. I'm not doing indicator or watch repair full time. All right. But what else is in here is there's quite a few crystals, but that ain't the half of it. This handle's missing, so let's see. Yeah. That one's got less. So don't get me wrong, this guy definitely knew that the crystals had some value. So at one point, he was going to try and figure out how many crystals were in here, and, saying, oh, they're probably worth a few bucks a piece. And the problem is, there are some in there that are going to be worth a couple of bucks a piece, or a few dollars a piece on eBay. But then there's going to be a bunch of sizes in there that maybe nobody's going to have a use for. So that's the rub. I'm going to have a ton of these sizes in here that are going to be for watch faces that are too small for indicators. So I'm not going to care about those. I did notice the part numbers. Some of the manufacturers' names on here. Seems like the majority of these are G&S crystals, which apparently they're still in business. So I went to their website and I found they had a cross-reference telling you which indicators use which sizes, which is great. The problem is G&S has minimum orders on these crystals that are pretty high, in quantity. So the problem is, it's not that the crystals themselves are overly expensive, it's you have to buy a whole bunch of them. So if you're not in the business, why would you do that, you know? So I took a rough count of how many were in each draw and multiplied that by how many draws, and you know, came up with my offer. So I think I did really well. I mean, there's about 25 crystals per row. So that's 125 per draw. That's 500 for every 4 draws. So that's 1,000. I mean, there could be over 2,000 crystals in this thing. The cabinet itself is not in the greatest of shape. Unfortunately, a lot of the paint is just flaked off. And, you know, it's got this, almost like this Kennedy toolbox kind of paint job on it. But, like I said, I mainly bought it for the crystal press and the crystals. So, I'm happy. And then for the final buy of the day, I went down back to the dealer that I had been at on Tuesday, which was just a couple of days before this. Well, I went back to him. He still had a ton of stuff. He was still really difficult to deal with, and he still made me really work really hard to grind on prices. And in the end, I didn't get a killer deal on, I don't think, anything in this box, but I'm going to be able to make a little bit on each piece, and when you add it all together, that's the name of the game sometimes. So that being said, I paid $190 for the contents of this box with this one piece. And this one piece, by the way, that looks like just a hunk of high-speed steel is actually a rusty Starrett straight edge. It's a number 380 Starrett straight edge. There we go. Nice Starrett 216 micrometer, a little bit of rust on here, but it actually is working. And unlike one that I had bought that I thought was working perfectly fine, but then when I tried to put a standard on it, it malfunctioned. This one does actually. If you put a 1-inch standard in it, it says 1 inch. So, you know, that's worth, say, like 40. We got a Starrett thread gauge. This is nice. This is a Brown & Sharp toolmaker's clamp in the original box, 752. They call it a toolmaker's vise. I think Starrett likes to call these toolmaker's clamps. This is a Starrett taper gauge. It's a long one. I've got a couple of these, but they're both short, so I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not. A nice Starrett grinding V-block. It's in good shape with the correct clamp, which is nice. This little Starrett attachment here for putting a scale on 90-degree angle from a rule, you know, like a combination square blade, which I did get this one. This is a Starrett. I grabbed this one because it's a 6-inch and it is not cut down. I know it's a 6-inch because the numbers start at 1 on the other side and go the other way. So that's a genuine 6-inch scale, which is a less common one. So that would actually slide in here like that, and then you would be able to put a scale here. And then the last item is, this is a Starrett 701B micrometer. This is a groove micrometer. I might not have this one, or if I do, it might not be in as nice a shape as this one, so I might end up, this is actually pretty mint. I might end up keeping that one, I don't know. So anyways, I got some good stuff here, but paid quite a bit of money for it. So I'm going to call this a series of wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Take care.